All right, so it's 6 o'clock, and I've turned on the recording feature, so anything that we cover, we can share with those who can't join us at this time. And of course, the Hangout is completely optional. My name is John Beck, and I'm your instructor for the CIS 120 Introduction to NoSQL Databases course. And the Connect to Palooza, this web meeting that we're holding, is intended basically to allow you to see me. I'm a real person. I really care about your work in this class. You can reach out and get a hold of me when you need to. And it's a chance to hopefully meet some of our other classmates. I don't know if people will drop in and come and go. Sometimes they go to start first thing right at 6 o'clock and realize that it takes a minute or two to download the software. So hopefully a couple other people will drop in on us, but if not, that's fine. I'll cover any questions that you have, and just kind of take a tour of the course and the mechanics of getting started. So Lin Ying, before we get started, really the most important thing to me is that I address your questions. So based on your exploration of the class, coming into the class so far, do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, even I don't know when is the course, when is this class will happen? What's the time? I mean.
Oh, that's a great question. This is a completely online class, and so there are no times that we are all in a classroom together or even online together. Everything can be done on your own schedule during the week. There are due dates each week, and I'll show you how to find those so you know what to do in what order and when things are due and how to turn them in. So I'm going to show you that. Do you have other questions for us?
Okay. Let me see.
All right. As questions come up, as you think of them, let me know. Then if there's something that comes up after this meeting, you can always message me through Canvas. You can email me. There is a course question and answer discussion. You can put your questions in there. And also, I have it arranged so that if you call my office phone, I'm not in the office in the summer because I don't have any on-campus classes. But if you call me between 9 in the morning and 8 at night in my office phone, it will forward to my Google Voice telephone number, which will hunt down and find my personal cell phone, and it will ring my personal cell phone. If you call during Monday through Friday from 9 in the morning till 8 at night, you'll get me, or I will call you back as soon as I'm able. Outside of that time, if you leave a message, it will actually text me a recording and a transcript of whatever message you leave me. So it's pretty easy to stay connected with me. Anytime, just call the number, and you'll either get me or you'll get a message to me, and I'll get back to you. Typically within 24 hours, usually much faster than that. Or when I say 24 hours, that means on weekends, maybe next business day. So I may do a little bit of relaxing on the next weekends from time to time. So, but if I'm not available to answer your call, for instance, on a Sunday, I will get back to you, Monday. So be sure if you call me and you want to call back, leave me two things. Number one is a good telephone contact number for you, and number two, make sure to let me know when your preferred time for a callback is. Give me like two different choices so that if for some reason I can't call you at one particular time, I know when there's a second good time, I'll call you at one of those times. So that should be easy to reach out to me. Okay, and of course you can always message me through Canvas. If you look over on your, when you log into Canvas, you hit the inbox here, and you can use the inbox to send a message to me, and that goes through Canvas, goes right to my email. I can get my email on my phone. I can get my email on my system. So pretty much wherever I am, I'm going to get the message pretty quickly. So should be easy to get a hold of me and get a pretty quick response back on questions.
Yes, this is my first time to get the online class, but I don't know where is the the material, the video to watch to have the class. I only see the question like as a homework, but where is those classes? It's on Canvas or?
It's on Canvas. And so let's, that's a great question. So let's start with that. I'm going to just completely close out my browser. Okay. And start from the beginning. So I'm opening up my browser. And I'm going to go to Pipeline at SBCC.
Yeah, I know.
You log in with Pipeline.
Yeah.
And once you've logged in with Pipeline, where do you find Canvas? That actually can be confusing the very first time you use the system. You have to look up here in the ribbon. See where I'm pointing right here? That's the Canvas link. So when you click on the Canvas link.
Canvas link. Yeah. I have, but yeah.
You can try it now while we're talking. That's fine.
I can see this, listen to announcements and start here like
right.
But I didn't see the video, so maybe this is the first. I only see the material and the homework.
Right. Let's take a look at that. So you're already ahead of me. You've already clicked on your Canvas course, and now we're in the course. Okay. And so the way that the course shell is laid out, up here will always be the 3 most recent Canvas announcements. So any class announcements that I've sent out as an announcement to the whole class shows up there, and I'll be sending things like reminders of due dates and that kind of stuff.
Oh, I see. Maybe it's the first week is the different database for different requirements is in there.
Okay.
Here is the link. But oh yeah, I see the video.
Oh, good. Okay. So as you scroll down, when we scroll down far enough, we're going to see that the course is laid out in weeks. So there's a whole bunch of preliminary information. And the reason for that is there are a lot of students that this may be the first time taking a course with Santa Barbara City College. It may be the first time that
I'm the first time.
Yeah, and so it's all very overwhelming and very confusing. Okay. So imagine that this is my first time taking an online course and my first course with Santa Barbara City College. So the first thing here is this little module, and you can collapse these when you're done with them. But there's the quick start guide. The quick start guide, if we take a look at that.
Yeah, sales orientation, I see.
It has all the information about what am I supposed to do in what order in this class? How so it says, hey, the first thing you want to do is make sure you've taken the online course orientation. That just shows you about how to use the Canvas online learning management system. The second thing is I have this module, which is student support services. So that has all the different links for how do I contact the help desk, how do I use the campus library. I'm an online student. Does that mean, am I eligible for health service? Yes, you are eligible. As a Santa Barbara City College student, as a Santa Barbara City College student. So if you want to use the campus health services and whatnot, this will link here. We'll have a whole bunch of other links on the page that link you back to the different web pages in the Santa Barbara website that tell you about those different services, financial aid, student support, tutoring, all those kind of good things. Okay. So again, this, none of this is really specific to our, database studies. This is just sort of learning how do I get around Canvas and how do I use the college. Okay. Then we get into the practice activities, and these are required, but they are not for points. Okay, and there are 3 things that we will do in Canvas that are the things that earn points. One is we need to know how to post to a graded discussion. So there's a practice discussion there for you to make a practice post to an introductory post. Say, this is my name, this is why I'm in the class, here's something fun about me, you know, that kind of thing. Secondly, you need to be able to take a quiz, because we're going to have our exams online. So there's a practice quiz out there.
Yeah, I see.
And so you could take the practice quiz, and then by doing it before it's worth any points, you can take a practice quiz, and now when it's worth points and you're stressed and you're anxious, is everything going to work all right? And how do I do this? You'll already have practiced once. You will know how the quiz works. And then thirdly, you need to be able to successfully upload your work when you've created it. So a lot of the work we'll do, you may create a Word document that documents the results of your lab exercise. You need to know how to upload it to the assignment Dropbox. And there's a practice Dropbox, and there's a simple assignment for you to do. Basically, it says, you know, create a Word document and tell me a little bit about yourself, and let me know if you have any special concerns or needs that you didn't want to share publicly, but you want me to be aware of. It gives you a chance to share that, and then you practice uploading it. Okay. The next thing the Getting Started tells us to do is ask me for a free virtual lab computer in the cloud. And what this is running in the Amazon Web Services cloud. I give you a free Windows computer for your use during your time in the class, and it already has all the software installed on it. And that should make it much easier. You don't have to go to the campus. You don't have to install any software on your system. You just need to connect to the remote computer and run it. And it will do all the work for you, which is great, because that way you don't have to worry about what if the software installation doesn't work right, or what about, you know, I'm using a Linux computer, I'm using a Mac computer, I'm using a Windows computer. Doesn't matter, because all that matters is that you have the remote desktop protocol installed on your system, which virtually all of the systems available today, all different operating systems, either have it, or it's very easy to install from the Apple Store, or from the Microsoft Store, or, you know, from whatever your software provisioner is. And then you can connect and control it, and everybody's going to be running a Windows computer on it. Some students ask me at this point, well, I'm really, you know, handy with computers, and I want to have the experience of installing the software, and I want to run it on, I've got a really hot, you know, fast machine, I want to run it on my own computer. Is that okay? Yes, you can, and that's fine. I do ask you, even if you plan to use your own computer, if you would, take a moment out and request a Cloud Time computer. I'll give it to you for free. Just use it enough to make sure you know how to use it, and then use your own computer if that's what you want to do. And the reason I ask that is, if anything should go wrong on your local computer, or your computer dies during the term, you can go to any other computer, go to a friend's computer, log into the remote system, and you could still do your work. So you have, you know, multiple ways to succeed this term.
Okay, I see here is the virtual computer lab.
Yep, and we're going to practice logging in. I have videos out there that show you how to do it, but we'll do it together.
I think we need to have the access to the.
Yes, I'll show you how to get that access. Are you running Linying, are you running a Mac, or are you running a PC?
Mac.
Okay. So on the Mac, what you're going to do is download from the Apple Store the Windows Remote Desktop client. And I will show it on Windows, but it looks very similar on the Mac. And that is the piece that allows you to connect to a remote Windows computer and control it. And it looks very much, once you're running it, it looks like you're running a Windows computer. It's pretty slick. We'll take a look at that.
So I need to download the software?
It depends on your version of the Mac OS and whether the remote desktop protocol software is already installed or not. So, well, let's take a look at that. Okay, we'll skip ahead a little bit. So you're already ready to connect to a remote computer. Well, the first thing is you have to have one, and before I can give it to you, your ID won't show up in the list until you have visited a particular link. So let me show you that link. So the first thing you do is you come over to where it says Cloud Time, and you need to try and launch a computer. And when you first come here, when you first come over here, it's going to say, oh, you know, I'm the instructor, so I get to see everybody's computers, right? And all the ones that haven't been issued. You will either see one, your own that's been issued, or if you haven't, it'll say you have no Cloud Time machines. And the first time you visit it and it says you don't have any Cloud Time machines, at that point, your name automatically gets added to this system. So instead of just saying,
how to get there?
Okay, so how did we get there? Let's go back and see it again. I'm gonna close this tab.
Page.
So here I am from the main page. I scrolled down and down to where it says Cloud Time, your virtual lab computer. And here's launch. So we come over here like we're going to launch one. And then I need to, this loads in a separate tab. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell it it's okay to launch it in a separate tab. And then again, right now I'm seeing everybody's computers because I'm the instructor. If I were a student, I would only see mine. Oh, Joy's joining us. Hey, Joy. So I would, if you haven't had one assigned to you, the first time you come in, it'll say, you know, you don't have any assigned. But once you've visited this, then if I come over here and look, your name will be there, and then I can take and I can assign it to you. Once it's assigned to you, then it's available for your use. Okay. So you can go over and visit that now. Now, to help me know that you're waiting on that, you've done that task. What helps me with that is if you come back over and post in the discussion. Let's take a look. A couple students have already done this. So if we take a look at make your request for a Cloud Time computer, so it tells you what you need to do. So I'm going to skip through the instructions. You can read those later. And so Gavin came over and says, Professor, I visited the Cloud Time launch page and received the message you don't have assigned machines. Please assign me a machine so I can get started. When he posted that, I got a message. So I knew somebody was waiting for one. So I wasn't waiting for me later in the day. I just hopped on my computer and I could do it from my phone. And I assigned him a machine and said, okay, you're all set, Gavin. And same thing for Michael and let's see, is anybody else? Nobody else has posted yet. They haven't gone in there. Once you have a machine assigned to you, what we can do is you'll be able to change it from a stopped state to a running state. So I've made this machine, it's not assigned to anybody. I can access machines that aren't assigned to anybody. Students can only get their own assigned machine. But I grab the IP address here, and I'm going to make a note of it, or I'm just going to copy it. And then on my operating system, which is Windows, if I say start and I say REMOTE, remote desktop connection, and you need to, on a Mac, if you don't already have the remote desktop protocol or remote desktop connection installed, you can download it from the Apple Store. It's free. And when you click on it, it'll look very much like this. And we're going to replace, the first time it comes up, it won't have any IP address in there. The IP addresses change every time you start the machine. We don't use static IP addresses, so you need to make a note of it, paste it in there, okay? And I'm going to show some further options because I want to use a specific username. And the username is just plain administrator, okay? So nothing before it. The reason it's important to change that is on Windows systems, whatever your domain is on your local computer, which is probably, like mine is something like John PC/administrator, that won't work because we're not in the John PC domain. So just plain administrator, and then you tell it connect. Okay, and it says, are you sure you want to do this? Yes, I trust this computer. And it says, okay, what's your password? And I've listed the password, but for your reference, it's in all caps, SBCC-CIS120. Let's see if I got that right. And it says, do you trust this certificate? I'm going to say yes. And now, it now looks like I'm on a new Windows computer. In fact, this is just an app. This is my remote desktop protocol app, but it's a whole nother computer inside here. And if we look, all the software I need is installed. As a matter of fact, most of it I've made shortcuts down on your taskbar here. So I've got a shortcut here that will take you to Robo3T. Robo3T is our database console client. It allows us to send query commands to the Mongo database, which is already installed and running. There's something called Mongo Compass, which is another kind of database client. It's really good for doing analytic stuff. It's kind of like a dashboard application. And then I've also created a little shortcut to the old command prompt. And we're going to be doing some system administration work this term. So when you click on that, not only will it open the command prompt, but notice that it's changed the directory down where the bin folder, the binaries folder is, where your database is running. And later we'll learn to do a little work with this. So if we take a directory, we'll see all the different files that are out here. I've even put some of your data files out here to make it real convenient. So one of the first exercises we're going to explore is using the primer data set to load data into your database. So it's all set there. We'll use the Mongo import utility to do that. So you're going to learn in our lessons how to use the Mongo import utility to upload the primer data set. And once your data set is loaded, you can use the Robo3T console. Let's go ahead and start the Robo3T console. And it says, do you want to connect to localhost? Yes, connect. And now over here, I see that we have a database called test, and it has collections on it. One of the collections is, this is the primer data set. It's called restaurants. And if I double click on it, I get all of the documents in that database. Okay, 50 at a time. There's more than 50 out there, quite a bit more than 50, but it shows us 50 at a time, and we can page through them this way if we want to. And if this doesn't look very useful at this point, you may not even recognize those as database rows, but if we expand them out, we'll see that they're a hierarchically structured record. Okay, a little bit different than a database record in a relational database, and it may be helpful to see the results in text mode or in table mode. So there it is as a table. That looks a little bit more familiar to you if you're used to using relational databases. Okay, and then there's what we would call the JSON structure, or the document structure. And we'll learn about what that all means and what those different views are useful for as we explore the class a little bit further. Okay, so I'm going to close not my running virtual lab computer. I'm just going to close the Robo3T application, and I'm going to close this command prompt. And so here's the thing about the remote desktop computer. If I were to simply close the application, that will drop my connection to that computer, but it leaves the computer running. It's sort of like getting out of the cab and telling the cabbie to wait. and or the Uber driver to wait. And so they're still waiting for you. You're still on the clock, as it were. You didn't turn it off. You didn't end the ride. So if I really want to shut this down, probably the best way to do it is come over here to the Windows tab and click the power button to turn it off. If I simply click this, it says your remote session will be disconnected. And if I do that, notice that the machine is still running. So I could actually go back and reconnect to it. That could be handy if you were, let's say you were working at home and you decide you want to go have a little Starbucks and you're going to work on Starbucks Wi-Fi. You could leave the machine running and drive down to the local Starbucks and reconnect. So if we reconnect to this right now, connect to it again, and again, I'm going to show details. Let's see, connect, and I'm gonna have more choices because it's trying to connect me as John Laptop. I want to use a different account, and it's just administrator. And our password, SBCC-120, and tell it OK, and yes. And now it reconnects us right back, and that machine is still it's still running. So if we had processes running or data displayed, it would still be there. I will warn you about one thing. I have a timer set. If you walk away from a machine and it runs for 8 hours, the system will shut it down. And if you have not saved your work, you may lose your work at that point. So also, it's a really, really simple system. It doesn't mean that you haven't, have you not done anything for 8 hours. It just means 8 hours. So if for some reason you just do a marathon session and you are working for, it's 7 hours and 50 minutes, stop, okay? Shut down the machine, save your work, shut it down, and restart it and restart the clock. It's just a hard 8 hours because it's frankly because it was simpler to implement that way. Okay, so that's how that works. But so this is how you get a remote cloud computer for free, and it has all the software installed on it, and you're welcome to use that. And again, if your preference is to install the software on your own computer, all of the software we're using this term is free software. You're welcome to do that. But I have a very strong recommendation, and that is please go ahead, even if you plan to work on your own computer, request a free cloud computer from me and learn to use it. Just take a few minutes to do this. And that way, if anything goes wrong with your local computer, you could use any other computer and still connect to your cloud computer that has all the software installed and running, and you're ready to go. The other thing that's really nice is, let's say you decide to experiment with your cloud computer and you do something really awful and it destroys, the system will no longer run. You send me a message and say, I need a new one, and I simply push a button, delete the old one, push another button, give you a brand new one, and 5 minutes later, you're back up and running with a perfectly new, ready-to-go computer. So you can feel very comfortable taking risks and doing crazy things to experiment. I wonder what happens if I try deleting the database while it's running. Yeah, give it a try, see what happens. And if it blows things up, then send me a message and say, I blew it up, Professor, give me a new computer. Okay, not a problem, doesn't cost you anything. All right, so again, I'm just gonna, well, we can restart it if I need to. So I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down properly. So now I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down. And this not only ends my connection, it actually is going to tell that computer to shut down. So it still says running here for a couple minutes, but if I refresh this, we'll see that it's changed from running to stopping, and after a couple more minutes, it'll say that it has stopped. Usually takes a couple minutes to get to a complete shutdown. Yeah, and I'm not going to belabor the point. You can see that by experimenting with your own cloud time system. So, all right, so that's how to request your cloud time system and start it and stop it and access it and use the software on it. Let's see what else we got here. I'm going to go back to our home in Canvas. And When you are tired of seeing these links, so a couple weeks into the class, you're probably done with the quick start guide. You don't need to see it again. Just hit the twisty and collapse that module. When you're done with the online course orientation, collapse that. You don't have to. It just is nice to get it out of the way. Your required practice activities. Here's something for you to read, and here's something for you to do. It has a deadline, so it shows up here. 0 points, but it's required. But it's due May 21st, so people should be doing these things today, right? So do all the orientation practice today, and then when you're done with this section, we can just fold it up and put it away. There is an extra credit, a major extra credit. It's worth 5 points, which is like half a grade level in this course. And I have 2 choices for you to explore. So you can go look at assignment A and assignment B and the extra credit. It's extra credit, so it's not required. But if you like to put a few points in the bank, or if you like an extra challenge, this needs to be done by, its deadline is June 28th. Same deadline as the final exam. So you have to have that done by the time we close the final exam, or the opportunity no longer exists. Okay, so that's available to you. Here are some course-related resources. So remember, back up in the student resources, we had all the resources at the campus. Now here are the things you would use in the course. So right here's the Q&A discussion. You can post questions. And the nice thing, why would you use the Q&A discussion rather than simply messaging the instructor? Couple reasons. Number one, if you go into the Q&A discussion, you may find that somebody else has posted the question you wanted to ask, and maybe the professor's already answered it. And that way we can share those questions and the answers to them. Secondly, is you can go in there and look at those, and you may find that, oh, hey, Sylvia asked a question, and I already know the answer to it. I won't wait for the professor. I'll post the answer for Sylvia, and then then she's good to go. So we can do a little helping each other, a little peer mentoring there. Okay. Here's a rundown of the software you need this term. And again, you don't have to go download any of the software if you're using the Cloud Time system. It's all installed for you. Okay. But here are copies of everything if you should need it. Okay. And then underneath that, we've got Cloud Time. And that's our virtual computer lab. So you can use a free virtual computer in the cloud to do all of your work this term. You don't have to go to campus. You don't have to install software on your own computer, other than you do need to have the remote desktop protocol. It's built into all of the Windows systems. I think it's actually also built into all of the Chromebooks. If not, you can download it from the Play Store. And for Mac, depending on the current version of the Mac OS, I think they dropped it out. It's not built in anymore. You have to go to the Apple Store and download the Remote Desktop Protocol client. Okay. So, and to learn to use that, if the video that we just are making now that we're recording didn't show you enough, there's additional help and information and stuff out there in the starting, stopping, and connecting to a Cloud Time machine. There's a little video. You can just run it and follow it as a step-by-step walkthrough. Okay. And here's our week 1 work. Okay. So this is what we need to do this week. And again, remember that some of our orientation stuff is due actually today, the 21st. But this is the rest of the week's work. And so it's laid out generally in the order that you're going to use it. I have a little guide here, week-to-week success guide, that kind of says, okay, how is each week organized? Where should I start? How do I do this stuff? Basically, it says do it in order. So I have lectures for you to view. And by the way, a really neat trick is if the lecture is a little bit slow for you, if you've already read the book and you're already getting it, rather than just skipping the lecture or skipping around in the video, these are all on YouTube. And YouTube has a really nifty control. You can play it back at double time. So play it back at 1.5 speed or 2 times speed. It'll go really quick. I may sound like a chipmunk, but that's okay. And you can go ahead and turn on the closed captions as well and view the captions as they go by while you're hearing it at double speed. And then if something gets complicated or confusing or interesting, slow it down, rewind, and you can review that section. So that can really save you some time and make your study time more efficient. So there are lectures and there are lecture supplements. All of it is required material. I expect you to view all of it. The lecture stuff is stuff that I've done. The supplements are stuff that I brought in. This one happens to be from the Computer History Museum. A lot of the stuff is from LinkedIn Learning, which used to be lynda.com. So there's a lot of great other classes there that you guys have access to as Santa Barbara City College students for free. And so I've gone out and cherry picked some of the best lessons having to do with the NoSQL topics we'll be studying and brought them in. Once you've finished one, if you want to view more of that class, you're welcome to. You can view the whole LinkedIn Learning class if you want to. But really, my intent is you're just going to view the video segments that I've linked in here. Okay. I got the notes that I have made on the chapter after I read it. You should probably make your own notes, but I figure since I made some, I'll share them with you. The manufacturer's slides, the publisher slides, you can look at for review. The slide deck for this book, it's not really much more than the graphics without any explanation that are already in the book. So maybe not so helpful, but you know, I put them out there as a resource for you. Thumb through them, make your notes on them, whatever helps you to study. And then we have a graded discussion. And notice it's a graded discussion. I know that because it's got a due date and it's got points in there. And so this is something that by May 28th, you need to follow the instructions for responding to the question or the topic or the activity. Okay. And so we'll do that for first discussion, second discussion. And my recommendation is don't wait until the last day to do your discussions. Do the discussions you know, early in the week or midway through the week. You'll get more out of it, and you'll also be able to see if other people are posting early in the week. You can see what they have to say as well, and it becomes a really great learning resource. Okay. A good part of what we need to do in this class is learn a lot of new vocabulary and terms and key concepts and definitions, because understanding those will make the lectures more accessible to you if you know what those mean. I think, you know, doing rote memorization of terms is about the most boring thing in the world. So to make it more fun, I've made games out of them. So this one happens to be a video game, and you can play the video game, and it will bombard you with questions while you're playing the video game. And so it makes the time go by faster, and it actually puts you in a heightened state of attention. So easier to memorize things that way, I think. If you really hate video games, if you come in here and click on the instructions, so here's all the instructions for how to play it, but it says, hey, if you hate video games, here's an alternative activity. And so you can do a worksheet. If you don't, you know, if video games are just not your thing, I get it, that's fine. You could still get the extra credit points and get the practice on the terms by doing the extra credit activity. Usually it's a worksheet. Sometimes it's a crossword puzzle. Sometimes it's a word search. Sometimes it's just to find the definition thing, and you can fill it out while you're reading. You can do whichever one you want, but I would suggest it's fun. Try the games and see. Most of them are not too difficult to do. If you get frustrated with the game, go ahead and do the alternative activity. That's fine. All right, so what else have we got in week one? So we were down at did the lecture supplements, looked at the slides, the notes, the discussions, did the extra credit, and then here we are at the actual assignment. And for this assignment, I've also created a video. For the very first assignment, I walk you through every step of the assignment. Now, I can't do that for every assignment. You wouldn't really want me to, because you want a little challenge. But here is the walkthrough, and here is the assignment. And so follow the instructions of the assignment using your own computer or the cloud time computer I've given you. And when you complete the assignment, you'll have created a worksheet to submit. And then you go ahead and submit it here, and do that by May 28th at 11:59 p.m. The assignments do lock at the time they're posted. So not 12:01 a.m. the next day. No, you got to get it in by 11:59. So my recommendation is, don't try and do things at the 11th hour. It's going to stress you out. Your work's going to suffer, and too often the time is going to expire just when you are about to submit it, or your computer's going to have your internet go down, or there's going to be a glitch. Don't do 11th hour stuff like that. It makes people unhappy. Makes me unhappy. Makes you unhappy. It's so do things at least a couple hours before the due date. And then we have another activity to wrap up the week. Test yourself. How well do you know? No points in that, just for fun. And then there's let's see, those two you guys don't see. Those are old extra credit stuff that I've turned off, that we're not using this term. Okay, so that gets us through the first week. The other weeks are pretty similar in their layout. The other things you should explore is the syllabus. So this is the course syllabus. If you click here, you're going to get a course summary. The course summary is not the syllabus, but it has this really nifty, what's coming up, all the items and the due date. It will also show you what's passed, what's expired. And so you can look ahead and kind of plan your time. The other thing that you can do here is you can click and download and print a hard copy of the syllabus, or you could view it online. If you click here, it'll expand it out for viewing. And so here you can read everything I want you to know about the class. There's a little bit about me, and then it tells you things like the catalog description and how many points, and what colleges accept transfer of these units. It's a Cal State University approved class. What textbook is required, how you can get it, and then what the grade breakdown is, how letter grades are assigned. I don't use, for instance, plus minus grading. I don't give A minus, A plus, B minus, B plus. It's all straight letter grade, A, B, C, D, or F. Course objectives, student learning outcomes, sort of my philosophy on teaching the course, how I address it, and then here's a detailed course schedule, including your readings and other things. So take a look at that. And all the other important policies about course mechanics. So late policy, which is don't be late, I don't accept late work. Extra credit, how does that work? What about the software? What about campus computer labs? How do I get technical help? What if I don't participate or log in? Will the instructor drop me from the class? Yes. Pass, no pass grading. All the other things that you might want to know about as a student in the class should be here. And if it's not here and you need to know it, ask me. I'm happy to tell you. Okay. So that's it. That's our course shell. I've left some things over here for you to explore. And some of these modules, because I'm in the instructor view, like SCORM, I can see. You can't. Don't worry. That's an administrative thing. You don't need to worry about that. But you can find shortcuts to all your assignments, the discussions. You can look at your grade book, and then you can always return to the home view, which has all of the modules laid out in sequential order, with the administrative stuff up top, and then week 1, week 2, and so forth. So we've got 6 weeks in the course. It's a very short course. We move pretty quick. So I think that's what I've got. Lin Ying, do you have any questions?
No.
Good. Okay. Well, undoubtedly, when we end the recording or go offline, questions will occur to you. That's okay. Don't worry. This is not your only opportunity. Email me, text me through Canvas, or give me a telephone call. I'm happy to answer your questions and also make good use. If it's a public question, if it's a question other people might benefit from, post it in the course Q&A, and then other people, if they have the same question and go to post it, they'll see the answer there, and that'll save them some time. So, all right, there we go.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. All right. Well, I hope you enjoy the class. And as I say, I'm pretty easy to reach, and I'm happy to answer your questions. As a matter of fact, if I answer a question and my answer didn't make it work for you, it didn't connect with you, ask me the same question 2 or 3 times. I'm happy to entertain the same question until I get it addressed in a way that works for you. So I don't get upset or angry or irritated about questions. I'm happy to have questions. I like questions, and I'm here to help you. And the thing that makes me happiest is when I see you succeed in the course. So that should make everybody happy.
Okay,
All right.
thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the recording now and end the meeting as well. So have a lovely evening, and if anybody's viewing this recording offline, I'll post it in the next hour or so. If you have questions, again, follow up with me. I'm also happy to set up virtual office hour appointments so we can go online and I can show you my screen, or you can show me your screen if you want to show me something weird you think your database is doing, and we need to puzzle it out together. I'm happy to help work on things with you. Just give me a call or email me and set up an appointment. All right. Have a great evening.
Okay, you too. Bye.